The Undercountry Music News is an excerpt of the weekly internet broadcast Undercountry Music, which features music from great country artists you won't hear on mainstream radio, as well as a roundup of the most interesting country music news of the week without all the fluff. This program you're listening to right now contains only the news portion of the show. To listen and subscribe to the full weekly episode containing the music and interviews, please visit undercountrymusic.com or simply subscribe to the Undercountry Music Podcast on iTunes. Let's get into it. Oh, whoa there, buddy. That sounds like some of that there alt country that you're playing there. I don't know, we can allow that around these parts here. No funny talking English guys playing that alternative type of country where they don't sing about dropping tailgates and going down to the riverbank and opening a six-pack and, you know, honey, slide it over here, get me another beer. Yeah, I try not to play that stuff here. Every once in a while it'll creep in, but when you hear it creep in, just know that I had a tough time finding good material for the show, and I shoved it in as filler. That doesn't really help a whole lot, does it? Anyway, thank you, Lieutenant Meat. I have some people who'd like to meet me in the parking lot after the show, because it's time for the Undercountry Music News! All right. The Undercountry Music News is where I, Neal Smith, do my best to piss off the Chris Young fan club each and every week right here. No, that's not it at all. I mean, that'd be pretty lame if that was my whole reason to exist, was to piss off the Chris Young fan club, although it's apparently not that hard to do. Anyway, the Undercountry Music News is where I, your beautiful Undercountry Music show host, Neal Smith, in all of my moobs of glory. That's right, I have moobs. Weight's been creeping up. Trying to smack it down with health drinks, but, you know, I do what I can. Anyway, I go on to Google every single week, and I type in the search term, Country Music News. And whatever websites come up on the front page and front page only of Google, I dig into them to see how good they're doing their job. I mean, they're page one of country music news. Wouldn't that be nice for me? And, you know, are they living up to the hype? Are they fulfilling their responsibilities as the vanguards of country music news? As the people who are the cultivators of the purity of the country music news that you are entitled to as an American citizen. And if you're listening to this from anywhere else in the world, for the next half hour here, I give you temporary citizenship of America. Because I have the power to do that right here on my show. I do. All right. Anyway. Some of them are reporting country music news. Some of them are not reporting country music news. Some of them just reprint whatever the hell Chris Young sends them. All right, I'm done picking on Chris Young here, okay? I'm sure he's a nice guy. I'm sure he feels bad about canceled shows and stuff. All right, anyway, if I go onto a website, you know, what I do is I go onto each of those websites. I try to find the one or two actual news stories, and then I compile them into this big bloody mess. You know, this chopped up hand from a late night kitchen accident, otherwise known as the Undercountry Music News. And I kind of drip it on over to you as it oozes out of the gauze. You know what I mean? All right. Anyway, if I go on a website and they don't even, and they're, you know, supposed to have country music news, and they don't even have not one newsworthy story on there, I reward that website with the undercountry music news, Wet Belch of the Week. And so far, I had a cucumber leaf smoothie. Now, when I say cucumber leaf smoothie, that's like I had to hack off part of this cucumber plant because it was growing over my pepper plant, and my pepper plant needs sun. And so, I hacked this vine off and, had a couple little baby cucumbers on it, nothing ready to eat yet. And I felt really bad about getting rid of them, but I had to because, they were blocking the sun for my pepper plant. So, there are other parts of it, but the cucumber plant is a vine plant. And leaves from vine plants are usually very bitter. So what I did is I chopped up the leaves from that vine, and I hacked off the little baby cucumbers so we could have them in a little baby salad. Anyway, I hacked off the leaves from that vine, and I put it with some crushed ice, a little apple juice, threw a banana in there, and I whipped it all up into a smoothie. And it would have kind of a bitter aftertaste, which most vine plants, their leaves do have kind of a bitter taste. This is why you don't want to eat like pumpkin and cantaloupe leaves. But anyway, where was I? Oh, yes. I give them the country music news outlets that don't do their jobs. I give them those bitter leaves of the cucumber plant in the form of the Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. Yes! And this week, my belch is fueled by cucumber leaves. All right, let's get into it. I've wasted enough of your time here, okay? Over at CMT, Glenn Campbell's wife defends the healthcare decision that she made to keep Glenn Campbell in long-term care at an actual facility instead of at home. Apparently, Glenn Campbell's eldest daughter from another wife had concerns about him not being at home and that he'd always be at home if she were involved in the picture and not halfway across the country. And, well, I don't really know that much about Alzheimer's, but I know there are a lot of people piped in on that forum in the comments section stating that, there's a lot more than just memory loss combined with Alzheimer's, and that, if he's deteriorated to a certain point, then really that's the only thing they really can do to make sure he gets the proper care. So I have no opinion on this one. So Glenn Campbell Army, don't come after me. So I'm just laying it out there for you. And also over at CMT, they are reporting that Scotty McCreery has been found to owe a former manager almost $250,000. Apparently, the manager did about 5 months worth of work, and then they parted ways, and the manager was looking for $500,000, which Scotty McCreery thought was excessive, and apparently they did not have a written agreement. Now, Scotty McCreery, here, I'm going to quote him here. He quote from CMT, quoting him, Scotty McCreery saying, "I am very pleased with the management fee ruling of only $239,000, which was less than half of the $570,000 that the plaintiff had requested," he said. Actually, he said the name, but I'm not going to say the name. He went on to say it was, quote unquote, "it was always my intention to pay," his name was Mr. Cassidy. What the hell am I hiding his name? And indeed had offered to pay him more than once. His request, however, for over $500,000 was too much for a few months of work. So, apparently, Scotty's happy, the courts are happy, and Mr. Cassidy's got a cool $250,000 in his pocket for 5 months of work. All right, everybody, calm the F down. Go back to your corners. Over at Country Weekly, country comedy legend Ray Stevens is going to release his memoirs entitled Ray Stevens Nashville. It details his life and his career, and this book comes out on June 22nd. Now, I love rolling by this guy's headquarters on Music Row and seeing the camels on the door as sort of a nod to his song Ahab the Arab. That gives me great pleasure. Now, especially in the context of today's politically correct environment. Now, could Ray Stevens ever release a song called Ahab the Arab these days, where the Arabian princess is there she was in all her Arabian beauty, eating a bowl of chili, the ROC Cocoa, the RC Cola, eating a bowl of chili, yeah, and then she said to the Arabian princess, "Y'all get in here." Yeah, Ray Stevens, love you, love that guy. All right. Anyway, moving along. Over at GAC, Willie Nelson's Texas ranch. His ranch is named Luck. Wasn't so lucky last week. It suffered heavy damage from high winds as storms blew through. Now, this is a ranch that was built in 1986 to look like an authentic Western town, like the set of his film, Red-Headed Stranger. Winds ripped several of the buildings apart, including, like I said, he's got like an old Western town there. It tore apart the bank, the post office, left the world headquarters holding on by a splinter. Oh, or should I say, holding on by a hemp leaf. It's just like low-hanging fruit. You got to jab Willie when you can. You ain't gonna be around to jab much longer, I don't think. So got to get it in while you can. Anyway, over at The Boot, theboot.com. See the video for Kenny Chesney's new song, American Kids. I played it. I just listened to it. I didn't watch the video. I was like brushing my teeth or something. I don't know. I listened to the song while I was taking a whiz. That was it. Yeah. It sounded different than all the other crap out there on mainstream country radio. I kind of liked the music of it. Not too many cliches. It had some cliches in it. But ultimately, nothing really stands out about the song. And the tune doesn't really say anything. And honestly, I cannot see this song being remembered come this time next year. On a scale from 1 to 10, I give Kenny Chesney's new song, American Kids, an That's about what I got for it. Over at Nashville Gab, Kip Moore, who is headlining the CMT On Tour 2014, has released a handwritten impassioned letter. Shall I say a handwritten with misspellings and bad grammar handwritten impassioned letter to fans asking them to snatch up tickets before the scalpers get them, as they have set the prices very, very low so that scalpers can make a better profit. No, actually, so that more people can afford to go. But admits that there's nothing that he or anyone else can do about scalping. He also asks scalpers to not be dicks and to find a better way to make their living, THERE, as if scalpers are subdivided into Kip Moore's social media platforms. Subdivided? Subscribed! Oh, I know why I've got so many misspellings of my own here. I wrote this on my phone into Evernote, and I was using that flow typing with SwiftKey, and when I put subscribed, it made it say subdivided. Weird. Okay, and here I'm repeating, I'm here talking about Kip Moore's misspellings and bad grammar, and I'm here spewing my own. Wow, I really do live in a glass house, don't I? Over at the 615, which is a subdivision of Billboard.com, a dispute over the finances and control of the planned rebuild of folk legend Woody Guthrie's boyhood home in Oklahoma could put the project in jeopardy. Now, the problems began after two Gibson guitars were crafted out of wood salvaged from Woody Guthrie's home in Okemah, Oklahoma. Now these were supposed to be auctioned off for like a buttwad of money. And the money from that were supposed to go to the building project. Now they didn't sell. Neither one of them sold, and there are people pointing fingers about the marketing of the auction. Other sides saying, no, you were greedy, asking for too much, etc., etc., etc. You know how that stuff goes. Well, okay, but, it's already done. The auction wasn't successful. You still have these two amazing guitars built out of the wood, reclaimed from Woody Guthrie's old home. And now it's made news. And now what I don't understand is why there's a problem here. Why don't you just hold a new auction for these guitars and do a proper job of marketing it? I didn't see anything about these guitars going on auction, and I scan the country music news every single week on every website that comes up on the front page of Google. And you listeners can testify to that. Well, for those of you who listen regularly, would it not just solve the problem to market it correctly and then put the guitars on a brand new auction after you've pumped it up for a couple of months, pumped up the heck out of this auction and just advertised it and publicized it everywhere? Would that not solve the problem? Hello? Also over at the 615, they are reporting that the Syracuse, New York location of Toby Keith's I Love This Bar and Grill. Man, it seems like I got some kind of trouble with those guys every single week here. There's a location that doesn't let you bring guns. Matter of fact, I think that was the Syracuse location. I think. But anyway, the Syracuse location owes the IRS over $250,000 in sales taxes from last year. The 615 has reported that a call to the restaurant's corporate office was not returned. Over at Country Standard Time, here is a lot of times Country Standard Time, what they're good for is they give you the role of all the people signing deals. And a lot of times it's artists that you haven't heard of, some that are just a little bit known and things like that. But it gives you a quick rundown of all the new deals going down on Music Row. Okay, so here we go. Drake White signs with Dot Records. Canadian band The Brothers Landreth have been signed to Slate Creek Records. Shovels and Rope, the duo of Cary and Hearst and Michael Trent, are set to release their sophomore album, Swimmin Time, on Dualtone Music August 26th. Rod mccoury will release his first ever solo album in mid-August, and it was announced that mccoury Music, the label started by his father, Dell, will release the 5-string Flamethrower on August 19th. Daly and Vincent will record a live show in September for a CD and DVD release as well, and that's what's happening at Country Standard Time. I have not given the wet belch yet, have I? I have not. Look at that. I gave 2 last week. Maybe I gave this week's belch to last week. Maybe there won't be a belch this week. I don't know. We have one more place to check in with. And let's see how they've done. Will they or won't they get the wet belch? Nashville.com. Dierks Bentley. Ooh, just saying the name makes the gas churn. Recently recorded Ride On, the featured song for the new History Channel series Biker Battleground Phoenix. No wet belch this week. Everyone had some news to report. Yay! And this has been your Undercountry Music News. Yeah. Thank you for listening to the Undercountry Music News. The Undercountry Music News is just a small excerpt of the weekly hour-long internet broadcast Undercountry Music, where I, Neal Smith, not only round up the week in country music news and put my own spin on it, but I also play music and have great interviews by lesser-known original country acts, the kind that you won't hear on mainstream country radio. If you're thirsting for that, get on over to undercountrymusic.com where you can listen and subscribe. You can also subscribe via iTunes to Under Country Music. Thanks so much. Stay under, stay country.